Hello. For organizational theory and behavior, this is group 4. We're going to be doing our presentation on the University Fire Department. It just so happens that the 4 people in this group are all part of the University Fire Department. My name is Adam Biernat. I've been with UFD now for just a little over a year. And what I'm going to be presenting to you guys first is the introduction to this organization. So here I'm standing behind me is our command board, which outlines the entire fire department. So our organization is divided into 3 separate platoons or shifts: A shift, B shift, and C shift. This allows the organization to do rotational shifts so everybody can get the adequate amount of rest and recovery between their work shifts. At the top of the board is our fire chief. Just below him are our administration staff and our prevention technician, or excuse me, our fire marshal now. Below the administration staff is our battalion chiefs. We have 1 for each shift. And below the battalion chiefs are the captains. We have 2 captains per shift. And then below the captains are the student firefighters, which can be either student lieutenants, student engineers, student firefighters, and student probationary firefighters. There's currently 12 student firefighters for each shift, and we average around 36 to 45 students per or in the fire department, depending on what place we're in the year. So that's introduction to the fire department and how many employees we have. And to describe what the fire department does, it can be best explained through our mission statement, which is the University Fire Department exists to provide effective fire, rescue, emergency medical services while preparing student employees for leadership in emergency services. So that's basically saying that we're here to provide, obviously, our fire protection, any rescue services, medical services, and the second piece of that mission statement is preparing the students to go later on in their careers and be leaders. So that sums that up. And another question here is, has our organization been in the headlines at all? And I brought an article up here to show one of the most recent headlines that we were in. This is from October in the Daily News Miner. And this is a project that we undertook with the Boy Scout troop up here to install a flagpole in front of one of our 2 stations. We have a station located on campus here and a station located on University Ave. So that sums up kind of the introduction. Next I'm going to kind of talk about how we motivate employees here at the University Fire Department. One of the biggest things that I wrote down here is pay increases. So when you first get here as a probationary firefighter, you're making minimum wage. Immediately after your 6 months probation, you get a pay raise. And furthermore, as you progress in your experience and training via getting checked off to drive apparatus, each checkoff is a pay increase. So it is a very good way to motivate students to be productive in their training and push themselves, and they also are then rewarded with a pay increase. And those pay increases range from 25 cents, and some of our bigger pay increases are $1, and those are for when you get checked off as a lead medic and for when you get your student lieutenant checkoff. And speaking about student lieutenants, that is kind of another motivational tactic is as you progress in your experience and the amount of time you're here, you have the opportunity to increase your rank up to a student lieutenant. So it's a motivational factor to achieve that because it's very prestigious and it's good for your career outcome. And then the last thing that I have listed here for the motivational aspect of this fire department is we just now recently started a new probationary system with our new employees. And this is where they're evaluated after every shift. And this allows co-worker employees to evaluate their subordinates and provide valuable feedback and ways that they can improve themselves and be better. And so this automatically opens up a communication door to help motivate this employee to be better. So in conclusion, I've introduced you to the organization that this group is doing its project on, which is the University Fire Department. And I've briefly described some of the motivational tactics we experienced at this organization. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Best. I'm a probationary firefighter here at the University Fire Department. I've been working here for about 2.5 months, and I'm going to introduce the leader of our program here at UFD. His name is Fire Chief Schlegel. He's been at the University Fire Department since 2010. He also started working for the University Fire Department in 1981, and he worked for the department for 4 years. He obtained his associate's degree from University of Alaska, and he also obtained a master's degree from in fire and emergency management from Oklahoma State, and also a bachelor's degree in fire service administration from Western Oregon University. He also worked for the Anchorage Fire Department for 25 years, and with his education and skills, he was able to work all the way up the ranks to Deputy Chief of Operations. And after his time at the Anchorage Fire Department, he decided to pursue another opportunity here at the University Fire Department as Fire Chief, and he's been here since 2010. And one of the things that I admire about Chief Schlegel is he treats everybody as one. He shows the same amount of compassion for his student firefighters as he does his own family, and that's one of the reasons he's such a great leader and why this organization continues to grow and progress each and every day.
I'm probationary firefighter Kyes. I started at the same time as firefighter Best over here. As a fire chief, Chief Schlegel has to have great communication, whether it's getting little things done around the station to discussing problems with other mutual aid fire departments to obtaining new equipment from the Fire Commission to making sure everyone is safe on scene of a structure fire. Communication is number one. Chief Schlegel was not always great at communicating. As a introvert, he had to work hard on it. He says that he used the book Into the Spotlight to overcome his fear of public speaking. Chief Schlegel has a pretty great speaking style. He uses facts and is very analytical instead of using emotions. Though he does like to come off as likable, so he likes to add a bit of humor in as well. Using his communication skills, Chief Schlegel has been able to obtain and update new fire apparatuses, all fire apparatuses in the last 10 years, which include a fire engine, 2 ladder trucks, a water tender, which is on its way to us now, and 4 F-350 brush trucks.
Hello, I'm Adam Schlegel. I've been with University Fire Department for approximately 3.5 years. I came here from Washington specifically because of the student firefighter program and the great structure that it has to also motivate us and also to further us in our career. So I'm going to talk about what the company's leadership is good and what's the motivational practices that they use that keeps us going, and also what could be better. So Adam Biernat already talked about the general structure of our department and how they work from the top down and from the bottom up, and I'm just going to go ahead and touch on our leaders and what they do to motivate us. So it starts with, we have a fire chief, Doug Schlegel, battalion chief, Pat Mead, and Ron Templeton and Greg Kuhn, and there's 1 per shift, 3 total. Captains, we have Captain Craig House, Captain Sean Aldrich, Captain Ben Flegel, Captain Greg Bean, Captain Forrest Kuiper, and Captain Dan Weatherly. So there's 3 of those guys out, or two per shift, so 6 total that watch over their shifts. We usually have 1 lieutenant per shift, which is also a student, but they are also our leaders, and they strive to motivate us to do good for them. So that's also part of our leadership, is our lieutenants, and then there's approximately 40-45 students, depending on the time of the year, who are all working together to form the University Fire Department. The reason why the structure and command of University Fire Department is so great to me is because every single person from the fire chief all the way down to the lowest Pro B firefighter is here to work hard, and I personally feel that they're all would be willing to give their life to save somebody or to save my life. So that motivates me right off the bat to do my best and to give my all for them as well. One great thing about, well, there's many great things about Chief Doug Schrage, but a couple of things that come to mind when I think about what motivates me to work for him. He's extremely dedicated. He started here as a student firefighter. He worked for 25 years as a firefighter all the way up to assistant chief in Anchorage, which is a very big department. And now he's back here, not because of the money, but because of the love and the dedication he has for this department and for the situation that all the students are in. He's very educated. He teaches a lot of our classes. He teaches a lot of fire classes through the conferences, and he is working on his master's degree. So he is very educated in the fire service itself, as well as reaching out into the community and into the university system. He's extremely qualified. He has any certification you could think of, and he's had experience with all those certifications for 20 plus years. So he brings that dedication and expertise to our battalion chiefs and captains, which in turn comes onto the students. He's really down to earth. He's like a father figure to a lot of us, and he treats us well. He treats us like we're family, and he is always there to support us no matter what we need. And he's always there for us. So having a CEO type person that is that personal and that dedicated to protecting us and helping us is the biggest motivator, I think, of all about Chief Schrage. All right, moving on to our battalion chiefs. We have 3 battalion chiefs, one that watches over A, B, and C shift, and they also come with extreme amount of expertise and experience. Altogether, they probably have over 60 years of experience. So a lot of the expertise that they have is in one part or the other of the fire service. For example, Chief Meade is very experienced with mechanics and working on our rigs. So having that expertise of him teaching us how to work on our fire trucks and ambulances comes off onto us and also motivates us to better know our rigs. Chief Kuhn is extremely experienced in operations from wildland all the way to structure firefighting, and his expertise he teaches us in the summer for wildland, and he teaches us all about hose work and stuff like that. So that experience that Chief Kuhn has comes off as motivation as well. And then Chief Templeton, who he's new to the BC role, but he's been in the fire service since he was a young kid, and he's extremely good with fire prevention. So teaching little kids to stop, drop, and roll all the way to making sure that your house is safe and not going to catch on fire. So all 3 of those chiefs put together make for a great battalion chief corps for our department, and it also brings all the expertise and motivation through our leaders, because you got to have your leaders watch over you, so you got to work for them. That's the brief overview of our command structure and how they motivate us. The captains more work towards our direct leaders, or more like first line supervisors, and so their teachings come from the chief level all the way down to us, and then we work with them. There's very few parts I think that would add to make it better, but one is better communication. I think any working business, including a fire department, needs better communication, just because it's so difficult to get effective communication 100% of the time. We have people going to classes, 5 classes a day, all the way to going to calls, to getting training done that day as well. So communication is getting better, but that's something we can definitely improve on. And one of the things I would really like to see in the future for this fire department is an actual career position that these student firefighters can work towards. A career position where you can actually have a career, make money, and live your life in the fire service like we all want to. If we had a spot in the University Fire Department where we can do that on a firefighter level, that would motivate all of us. 100% of us would be motivated to work towards that position. So that is in the works right now, and I know that once that does become something that is possible, that will definitely be a big part of the motivation for the student firefighters to better themselves and moving on into that career role. So thank you for listening. This is a brief overview of our motivation and what our officers and supervisors bring to us as students and why they're so effective at it. Thank you.